like I might get over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders, yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You could keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind on top of the week. What's up to the game? Shot reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. Play our part, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great. If we stand tall and believe we can make it, you and me, with a sense of urgency, you'll see I'm better than great. I'm better than great. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm better than. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. Play our part, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Yeah. Hit me like I might get over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders, yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You could keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind on top of the week. What's up to the game? Shot reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away.
like I might get over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You could keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind, no time for the weak. We start to the game, shot, reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. Lay up firm, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great. If we stand tall and believe we can make it, you and me, with a sense of urgency, you'll see I'm better than great. I'm better than great. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm better than. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. Lay up firm, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Yeah. Hit me like I might get over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You could keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind, no time for the weak. We start to the game, shot, reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms, 'cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. Lay up firm, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great. If we stand tall floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. It's really the love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are partners, don't change. Great. We are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind.
We unveil the curtains once again on the M5 World Championship wildcard stage. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about to go into game number 3 of our second series of the day between Team Falcons and Nightmare Esports. Thanks for joining us once again. My name is Stafa. Alongside with me, it's Arashi and Yasu. I see you messing with the dodo there.
Some luck.
He needs his personal space.
All right.
Okay, but how are you feeling right now? We just saw quite the performance from Nightmare Esports, and now it's 1-1. Did you see this coming?
Well, I didn't see this coming because I thought that Team Falcons, when I saw how they dealt in the early game, the last game, they were doing really good with the draft they had. They were so confident. They got a kill. As Arashi said, actually, that was a solid point. Maybe at some certain point, Team Falcons took some ego on the sidelines, like, oh, we can do this alone, and we don't need like the help to go as a team as a whole to a certain lane.
Perhaps, because I mean the strength of that whole draft is to have a Martis, right, with a Faramis, and in the early game, that's just so difficult to deal with, right? Your card control immune with a Mortal Coil, you have damage reduction up to 60%, I think, depending on the level. And then with the Faramis, you can't even burst him down. So in the early game, that's a weapon that they can really use a lot better.
Yeah. In this case, though, they definitely had a tough time considering the amount of crowd control that Nightmare Esports had drafted. Let's figure out whether or not they can adapt to the situation. The crowd is ready and the atmosphere is electric as we enter the drafting phase for game number 3, Nightmare Esports. Remaining on the blue side, Team Falcons on the red. And it does look like the bans so far are the same, but it's actually Nightmare Esports themselves who choose to ban the 1-1 this time. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that Team Nightmare might prepare something that doesn't have 1-1 included as playing against them, and right now taking that Joy. Again, I think that the last draft they banned the Joy, and right now they take the Joy as a first pick, right, Rashi?
In the previous game?
Yeah, and like not just the game before this, like when the game
the draft that didn't count.
No, the draft that counts.
The draft that counts? I don't think the Joy was in the game.
In the ban.
Oh, in the ban. Okay, yeah, the Joy was banned out after the Nolan as well as the Mathilda. That is what was happening from the side of Nightmare. And from the side of Falcon, it was Khalid, Bruno, and 1-1. So I think 1-1 is banned by Nightmare instead because they do want that Joy more. But for Falcon, they're giving Hulk a very strong, very tanky EXP laner that he can use to really make plays for his team, be dominant, take away a lot of attention, and they're going straight for the Valentina, knowing that there's a chance that Nightmare can go for that Faramis.
Well, would you think that having Hulk playing, and that's exclusively gonna happen, or like mostly 90% gonna happen, having Hulk playing Terizla, is there a room to change things around in terms of like jungle XP, or like maybe we can see a Terizla room, because at some times
Terizla room?
Actually, I saw it. I saw it happen.
Well, in our crazy MPL ID, I think we did see a Terizla in the mid lane actually.
Yeah.
That was a thing. At one point, we saw Valentina shifted over to the gold lane.
Oh, what?
I'm not sure if Falcon is feeling that experimental though.
Wow.
So for now, we'll have to see. The Faramis, I think, is fresh in the minds of everyone watching right now. If Nightmare get it, then they get a good combination. But no, they want a full array of burst damage, magical, physical, and a good amount of independence in order to play that messy style. If Falcon, once again, go into this game aggressive, right, impatient, without waiting for the right setup for their team, this could be dangerous.
but I do think that Franco as a hero pick is often very valuable for the way that Team Falcons does end up playing a lot of the time. It kind of allows them to play aggressively without positioning too far ahead. And we know that Super is pretty comfortable on the Franco, so this could be pretty good. Not to mention it's just a direct counter to that Joy. So I do like the choice. Honestly, I feel like we haven't seen enough of this hero this wildcard.
Well, a suppression hero is always welcomed, and also at Team Falcons, I think that yesterday Super also managed to play that Franco, and he was really good actually, but every time he landed his hook, it was there's a Martis room, and it was a mess in the Land of Dawn. But Team Nightmare right now are focusing on the gold after they have secured the gold. So do you think that Lotric will be pressured, even though we saw that he chose Beatrix in the last game?
The Beatrix, I think, had potential, and again, for a while it was doing pretty okay. It just wasn't given the chance to really scale up and get any items to work around with. They're also banning away the Arlet, so this leads me to believe that they are going to go with something a bit more vulnerable in the back line, something with a bit more damage.
Ooh.
If they want to go skirmish heavy, man, all the good options are taken away. The Bruno, the Brody, Carry, and the Claude. So whatever they get right here won't be able to output as much damage, so they have to try and find a way around that.
Yeah, Nightmare looks like they want to push the Beatrix back into the Land of Dawn, and that's exactly what Team Falcons are going to do here. It is Lotric's comfort pick, so even if Nightmare seems to be pushing the draft in that direction, Team Falcons feels confident enough that it'll still work out. And considering the amount of frontline they have here, it should. They just got to make sure that the Joint doesn't get an easy pass into that back line. Nightmare now can be looking for his remaining two heroes. Baxia coming out right here. Your thoughts?
Baxia without an Angela is still effective, and it's, more importantly, it's fast, right? You two were talking about how fast the rotations was from Nightmare Esports. With the Baxia, it's only going to get faster, and with the Lilia in the mid lane, it's only going to mean that the mid wave is going to get cleared even faster as well. Now for the roam though, I feel like they want some crowd control to really follow up. It's going to be a Kufra, can be used to stop, and in a way, technically, if you have the tough boots, the boots that reduce the crowd control, you can really cancel out the hook as well. And for Falcon, they're going to go with that Akai.
Well, in terms of flex picks and maybe, as we say, Joker picks somehow, Baxia and Joy might be switched around. So some of them can go for the XP and some might go for that jungle. But I think that the jungle has been settled and we will see an Akai by Leo. And it's his comfortable pick after all.
What I can tell from both these drafts is that these are hero compositions designed to just straight up brawl. These teams understand that they want to meet each other head to head in the battlefield. And that's exactly what we're going to get with a lot of utility, a good amount of frontline, as well as all the crowd control you could ever need in the hands of these players. What I'm expecting is going to be a bloody game 3 between Team Falcons and Nightmare Esports. The Land of Dawn beckons once again. How will this intense series conclude between two worthy opponents?
It's almost like it's a battle of the front lines, man. The Baxia being tanky, but so is the Terizla. Whoever gets picked off first, it's going to be a race. Can you take out the target that you're trying to pick off before his team can counter-engage on you? Because for both teams, that's a very possible option. But Super now, already with a very promising Iron Hook.
Yeah, as I told you, Team Falcons, it seems like we have seen Franco so many times with Team Falcons in the Impel Eye, but not with Super, it was with Maru. And here we can see him with Super, and it is doing really good, but what's also really good is Jasmine's first kill, and Goodnight is forced to use his Flicker.
Goodnight has to be a little bit more careful here. He's positioning aggressively, which is good, but at this stage, there's no way he's going to be able to compete against a Lilia and Kufra at level 2. Team Falcons got to slow it down, make sure they don't get punished for their aggression like we saw previously.
Well, for now, look, keep your eyes on the mid lane, because with an Agility and a Wilderness Blessing, it's all about that roam. The Kufra, from the side of Nightmare Esports, going with the Firmness for an extra bit of tankiness here, whereas for the Franco, it's of course the focusing mark in order to make sure that he can get all those pickoffs. But this is the problem, man. If he lands a big Iron Hook, a big Bloody Hunt, who exactly is supposed to finish off the target? Beatrix comes to mind, but that's a bit later with some items. Before that, the best they can use is the Valentina. And especially if they hook the Baxia or the Kufra, I don't think the Valentina has enough in the early game at least.
Yeah, that early to mid-game burst is going to be lacking for the side of Team Falcons. They have a lot of setup, but if they don't have enough damage to follow up on it, we're going to see some similar issues we've seen in the wildcard so far. I think probably the best choice would be to steal like the electrifying beats maybe, and that would be close. But it's still hard to say whether it truly would be enough. For now though, the turtle is going to be contested.
Yeah, the turtle was brought to you like a while ago with the camera by ROG, but here we can bring to you the fight. Jasmine's trying to take a little risk, but he's not still level 4, so he will be in a really big trouble if he goes in, and he does go in, he commits to that, and he's now trying to push away Hakai, but of course, to continue with that fair game play, we have to go for a technical boss.
Real quick there, I saw Lotric raise his hand, so you have to wonder what exactly is going on. Man, a pause in the middle of such an intense turtle fight. This could make or break the whole engagement. You really have to feel for these players in the Land of Dawn.
This is one of the worst times to have to encounter a pause here for both these teams, because no matter how good you are at the game, it's always going to take a quick moment for you to reorient yourself once the game gets going again. And in a situation as high octane as this, the first turtle of the game, who knows what could happen?
Well, as you can see here in the camera, maybe something's happening on Falcon's side. Yeah, it is on Falcon's side, because I can see Leo's so worried, he's looking back and forth at Hulk's phone. And I don't know, that fight, that was actually a potentially good kill for Team Falcons on the Kufra, maybe also a turtle, but I don't know, was there, the jungler was even there?
I think the junglers were involved as well. The Kufra though initially missed the initial engagement between two players. It's very unfortunate. But bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, at home and in the arena. It's important for us to make sure that sportsmanship is protected and maintained at all costs. So even though we're going to be waiting for a little bit, we're going to make sure that the games go without anything, impacting the whole game.
Because in the end, what is going to be at stake here are the lives of these players. Their one opportunity to make it to the M5 stage, the biggest MLBB tournament in the world for the year. So if they are encountering some issues, we gotta make sure that those issues are ironed out as fast as possible. Again, we're very grateful for all of you watching at home for being patient with us. We gotta make sure that everything is all good. And right now for Team Falcons, they are in the better position, but I'm a little bit worried because I did see like the Joy in the top lane. She's gonna be coming in from the back side here, and I'm not sure if that angle is protected.
Well, if you look at the players from Nightmare Esports, they also seem to be in the right state of mind right here, as well as Falcon. They both seem quite confident, quite eager to get back into the action. I do believe, I think Falcons will be able to pick up and punish that failed engagement, but afterwards, that's the main problem. What can they do? With an Akai available for Team Falcons, I think they will definitely secure the turtle, at least on paper, right? We'll have to see if Nightmare Esports can try and find something that really works here.
Well, for Team Falcons, I cannot actually separate whether it was like focusing or like the expressions was I am focused, or was it stress? Because they just came from a loss. So I don't know if Team Falcons actually have it together after that lose. So will it be, look, at the face of the players, I think that, yeah, I think it's mostly focused, but there is some nervous on the stage between Team Falcons members, right?
Yeah, they definitely look a little bit disgruntled, and perhaps, like, honestly, I think we can all recognize that that did affect their gameplay somewhat in game number 2. I'm hoping they'll be able to pull themselves back together, but has this happened to Team Falcons before?
To what? To be nervous?
Kind of a not so good state of mind during the game.
Well, at MENA, or like generally, even at the MPLI, Team Falcons mostly either go all the way in, or once they like struggle or let's say stumble, it's a little bit hard for them to come back up.
So the recovery time is a bit concerning here, especially for you. I mean, Yasu, this is your boys, bro. Like, you gotta be very concerned right here. It's looking good for them by all means, but again, the mental component in this game, in a tournament this big, can't be understated, man. Sometimes that mental state alone can make or break a game, so I think both teams have to really focus up right here. Try and, you know, fan the spirits of competition, for lack of a better term, right? Make sure that they're keeping their heads in the game and, you know, making sure that they stay focused.
Yeah, it's one of these things, right? It's difficult to say because people will look on the outside and think, oh, you're just playing a game, there should be no problem, you shouldn't be tired. But all of us MLBB gamers, we know very well just how exhausting it can be, especially more so for these teams up on stage right now. So make sure you guys share your words of support in the comments. Make sure they're able to reach the teams and give them the energy they need.
Well, maybe it's not a physical game, but it is indeed a mental game. So they are now mentally challenged. They are now mentally stressed, nervous, maybe focused, maybe like a lot of mixed feelings can be on that stage. So do not underestimate how much pressure it is to have on a player. I'm not going to say just in like local tournaments, MPLs, but you are here at the international stage. You are not home. You are not with the people you know, or like playing against people you even are familiar with. So it is gonna be hard, but we're gonna go ahead and go inside the game. Let's see what's gonna happen. We are already at that bot lane, having the kill quite fast on Jasmine, and the turtle was secured by Team Falcons. Joey Viana is now trying to get under the skin of Hulk, and Hulk so far is getting poked and he's losing so much HP.
It does look like the state of the game is a little bit further along, so we're gonna actually get an instant replay for what happened right as we left off.
So I think Falcons, they secured the turtle and then they immediately went for the chase. And they do have the tools available this time. Hawk though does not land it. Juviana.
We almost missed some action. We just might have missed some action. Juviana might have just died by too easy for Lexi. Commits to that engage, and the land is lava for Team Falcons. He had to use his flicker away. Good night goes back, and Team Nightmares are enough with what they had.
Yeah, a little bit worried here. Team Falcons does seem to be jumping the gun just a little bit. The fact that they only lost Hulk despite that overdive might be good, but here comes Nightmare again.
Nightmare is going in, and look at, there's a suppression happening on with Super. Too easy for Lexi, is now too hard to escape, but he is away. It is not too hard for too easy to escape. He is still alive.
Literally too easy for Lexi, but now the turtle could be open for Team Falcons. We'll see whether or not they're able to secure it. Most likely the answer is yes. And yep, that's going to happen here. Nightmare, do they actually want to take this fight? I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because there's no use out of this fight, right?
Yeah, not really at this point. Just Juviana trying to be as aggressive as possible, trying to get something in exchange for the, the failure to get that turtle. Well, for now, though, Team Falcons are still in the lead by all means, but that death push strategy, like we saw earlier, we've mentioned this. They can go and lock someone down, but who exactly is doing the damage? Logic used the Bennett's Rage earlier. I'm not sure if it actually landed. It might be slightly off, which allows too easy for Lexi to get out of there. It's definitely unfortunate, but if you look at the levels, though, Leo and too easy for Lexi, they're like competing there.
Yeah, it is almost equal in terms of everything, and here we have Leo having too easy for Lexi. He's here, but there's that flicker from you, Jasmine. Jasmine takes down everything. Of course, the kills are for you, Kami, but the maestro behind that, the mastermind, Jasmine, goes in. Flicker ultimate first kill, and everything goes down to Team Falcons.
Jasmine literally just crushed the dreams of Team Falcon in one fell swoop. What looked like an amazing engagement and free kill on too easy for Lexi resulted in a two-man Tyrant's Rage catch and the loss of their marksman once again. Nightmare Esports, I don't know what happened, but they do seem to be online.
Man, it's mechanical outplay after mechanical outplay. And now look at who's raising their hands, man. It's the side of Nightmare Esports. Fortunately, it didn't happen in the middle of a big engagement. After such a big outplay, now we're back to a small break, so please bear with us. We're trying to maintain the integrity of the tournament right here.
Ooh, this is going to be quite the marathon here, not just for us, but for these players as well.
Kind of intense, actually.
Yeah, like, literally, their stamina is being tested to its limits here, considering the state of the game right now.
Look at Goodnight, dude. He's wiping his sweat and all that.
I can't blame him, you know? Like, can you imagine how it must feel to be in the position of those 10 players up on stage?
Well, they are mentally merged with the game right now. So whatever is happening in the Land of Dawn is getting into the heads of each player, whether it was on Falcon's side or even on Nightmare's side. But I think that they are all nervous, not just Team Falcons. Even Team Nightmare seems to be a little bit nervous.
I think the big problem that a lot of people don't really recognize, I feel, just in case some people are wondering, is the fact that in this kind of game, right, you're not moving and setting up plays for the current moment. You're actually planning things out, setting it up for like 5 minutes in advance. So there's a lot of things you have in your mind, like a checklist, you know? Oh, manage waves, like gain vision, right? And when you're trying to keep all those things in your mind for a prolonged period of time during a tactical or a technical difficulty like this, it's draining on the mental state, man. It takes up a lot of energy to try and make sure that you don't forget everything when you get back into the game, because even if you forget a single thing, we've seen a lot of games go down to the wire, and something as simple as the minion wave where they meet, right, when they are moving towards the center of the map, that can really swing the balance in one of the team's favor.
It's literally just those tiny micro mistakes, right?
Yes.
We've already seen so many teams lose their chances at victory just from a single moment of miscommunication, a single misplay, a single mispress. So being able to keep your minds in the game here will be the true test for these teams. And hopefully the support of the audience will be able to reach them up on stage right now, because you can definitely see the fatigue starting to set in, and I'm hoping that will not affect their gameplay as much as, well, we're worried that it might.
Well, I believe that they need all the support they can get, because
for sure,
both teams, not just like, oh, Team Falcon needs the support or Team Nightmare needs, they both need the support. And they both right now are like up to the challenge. It's a breaking point. It is the match point, and everything just stops here for a moment. Everything just stops here for 1 point to see how things will go in this group. It is a challenging group, and man, I just remembered the next game for Team Falcons. I guess the last team that is still in the group is Team SMG, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The favorites.
So they are up for a really tough challenge.
On the screen right now, though, is Mero and DJY himself. If you guys watch clips on YouTube, you know that man, but I don't think not a lot of people really knows what he looks like. So that's a sneak peek there. Bit of quality content from F5.
I'm personally a little bit curious how like popular personalities like DJY are well known like overseas, right? Because he's definitely quite popular here. He's from Malaysia, so we've seen his face here and there since he started appearing more at events. But like for like other countries like IDPH, I'm actually not that sure. Like, how familiar are you guys with like Clippers and the such?
I think a lot of people in Indonesia are quite familiar with DJY because in a way, right, the content is in English, but since it's short form content, it's clips. It's a lot easier for people with different language backgrounds to really digest that kind of content, you know? Because like, even if you don't really know exactly what's being said or what's being shown on the screen, if there are any words, you can still appreciate the amount of the plays coming out.
True. That is indeed the case. I think for Yasu, it's your first time meeting him, right?
Yeah, I'm being here for the first time. And actually, speaking of languages, I am really good at reading lips.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I caught on camera right now, one of the fans here in the audience is saying and whispering, Falcons. You're like, just Falcons.
Falcons. Man, they are really popular. I think to a surprising degree. I've said it before. I will say it again, man. It's kind of unreal to see a team from a different country get this warm of a reception.
Yeah, and also if you can look here at the audience, and I wish that also everyone behind the screens can watch and see the audience. Also, Team Nightmare have a really good fan base. They have a lot of fans, but it seems like we are heading into the Land of Dawn.
All right, we're back once again, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like we're going to be picking up right where we left off here. A slight lead by Nightmare Esports, but nothing too dangerous yet for Team Falcons. They got to be careful, though, about their aggression.
You gotta be careful, and also especially too easy for Lexi. Needs to be the most careful. Leo now has finished his ultimate already, but he couldn't take that turtle down. It's reset. Juiviana is now having his moment. He's now on his ultimate, but he takes it back. Everyone goes back. Everyone comes down for a bit. Good night steals that black shoes. Everything is still on. The battle is still on. Good night. And also Leo is trying to steal, but there is nothing that comes back to Leo but to go back. Team Falcons go back, and the turtle goes for Team Nightmare.
That is extremely unfortunate, man. The penalty zone into the heavy spin. Didn't work out, and look at Super.
Look at what spin is hitting. Too easy for Lexi. Is hitting people even inside and outside the bush.
Yeah, mistakes are definitely being made. Ooh, good night. Being very aggro. Forces out the black shoes at the very least.
What?
Picks off Lotric 1v1 in the bot lane.
I think he committed so much to the turret, right? Because it's a turret to kill.
Looks like it.
Seems like it, but now Super's alone. He is not going to be engaged on down, but that might just lead to the turret getting equalized. Can Falcons go for a play?
Oh, they can't go for a play. So Sol now is trying to escape using his Purify. He manages to go back. He managed to go into the middle of his own team. Mid lane might be a threat, but cards need to be reorganized.
Nightmare Esports really outmaneuvering Team Falcons across the map right now. There's a lot of pressure from this team because of the amount of burst damage they have. And when we look on the other side, Super, his Iron Hook has had a very successful hit rate. 53% is honestly very impressive, all things considered. And yet, Nightmare Esports still seems to be the ones in the lead.
In fact, I don't think Super has made a lot of crazy hooks just yet. So we'll have to see, man. The later the game goes, the more value that Iron Hook has. Being able to pull someone from the opposing team so much closer to your team. And even going for some steals like that. But Leo, is he going to be jumped on?
Nah,
with the turret
so
nearby?
hard.
I don't think so.
It's so hard.
Doesn't seem like it. That would be a bad angle. Jasmine gonna be taking some abuse here, but again, not a good angle for either of these teams to engage. They're definitely starting to slow things down somewhat, especially with the Lord coming up in another 10 seconds.
He just passed.
He's looking for the hook, not going to be able to get it. This objective, though, is going to be pretty important. Right now, the structure count is even between these teams.
Oh, by the way, you want to raise the question of Cammy on the Brody right here. I was very vocal about him not performing really well on the 1-1, but on the Brody, he seems absolutely at home right here, finding a lot of ways to really outplay the members of Team Falcons. Against a comp like this, it's also very nice to have that extra bit of mobility and the range in order to stay safe from the crowd control. Juliana, though, has the Starlium sight, so true damage, but Falcon, they make their first move.
Well, it'll be too easy for Lexi to take that Lord. Now we see that there's some suppression happening and also some ultimates being triggered everywhere in the land of Dawn. Leo tries and he manages to secure that Lord. He loses his life for it. He loses his life for it, and also the life of Good Night is being lost. No, the Black Shoes has been triggered and it's just like buying time. Is he buying time? Yeah, he is buying time. But time has just ran out. Tick-tock, the clock is running for Team Nightmare.
This is clearly not looking too good for Team Falcons. And
what was that, Jasmine? What was that? Super, Jasmine is out. Jasmine is still alive. He manages to escape such an inevitable death.
Man, that is just a pick of potential. The amount of damage that Nightmare Esports can dish out is so insane right now. Team Falcons have the utility, but wait, they go for Juliana. They don't get it though. Man, I was about to say that they have all the tools to really force a Lord take, and they get it. But at what cost, man? Losing 4 members like that, it's definitely not quite worth it, especially against a team that can snowball like Nightmare Esports. We're still in the mid-game so far.
Yeah, but it does seem like the coordination for Team Falcons is unraveling a little bit. The communication coming from their players seems to be lacking, and the goals that they're attempting to achieve are being split up across the map. There's a sense of desperation to try and achieve these objectives, and they're committing a bit too far, disregarding their backline in the process. They gotta be able to overcome that.
If you look at the jungle EXP though, despite all the setbacks, Too Easy for Lexi is still at the same level as Leo. So every single Lord take from here, everything above contest as well, is very competitive. I mean, earlier, Alexi was trying to take the purple buff away from Leo, but he's still able to get it secured. Now it's back to that slow build-up before the next big fight. And with more items, it does become a bit easier for Team Falcons to really come out ahead on these in these fights. If they have resistances, they don't fall as fast. They have ways to really use their frontliners efficiently, so it doesn't become as urgent. There's not the same kind of urgency that they have in the early game against all the bursts coming in from the Joy, the Lilia, and the Brody.
Well, as I told you, it's going to be a little bit hard for Team Falcon to come back because, and this is something that they need to work on. Once they are pressured, they cannot deal and they cannot find their way out easily.
So you're saying that Team Falcons are actually a very momentum-based team here.
Yeah.
And if they fall behind, the space no longer creates itself for them.
Yeah, if you look at the items right here, with the Lightning Truncheon, I think Goodnight has a decent amount of damage already, but it's not continuous. So it still falls on the shoulders of Lautrec to really output the damage. And on that note, he has 4 items available. The last one could be a Wind of Nature, potentially, to try and outplay the Tornapod Memory, but he still needs some resistances to deal with the magic damage. Because Soul and Juviana, they're doing a lot of damage, and they can really get past the frontliners quite easily.
The thing is, if Lautrec goes for magic defense, Team Falcons already is lacking damage overall. So he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place, right? He has to go for full DPS, because otherwise, once that late game arrives, Nightmare Esports will just run them over. And even before then...
I wonder which spin will be the most effective. Will it be the heavy spin or the wheels spin? Look at here. Oh, suppressed down, and Juviana goes down by the hands of Floater, but from far behind. Monster kill happens on Super. Leo's trying to find his way in. Leo's trying to find his way in. Leo's trying to find his way in, but it was too easy for Lexi to take that Lord Nightmare, or about to pressure Team Falcons and test them one more time.
That was very well played there by Nightmare Esports, purposely delaying the fight once they knew that Juviana had already been caught out to make sure that Leo would not have enough health to spin in and get the secure on the Lord. And honestly, he tried so hard to survive. His timing was almost there. But with that Lord taken now, Team Falcons will have a tough defense.
It's a great approach against a team that can go for steals onto the back of utility, bait it out, wait for it to end, and then go. I think it's the second time the Team Falcons have went for a ultimate base play and not come out on top. They can siege right here, but against a Brody, that's dangerous. Let alone a Brody with a Sea Halberd, they can do max HP damage to the Akai and the Franco as well as the Terizla.
Well, I think that the defense for Team Falcons isn't that hard because they have the basics, they have a good set of defensive heroes, but, and also, like you said something really interesting, Arashi. You said that Franco's late game hooks are the most valuable hooks.
Well, the longer the game goes, the more there's a chance that that one random hook, right, if it lands on the right person, it can completely turn the game around, despite the difference in gold. Unless, of course, Nightmare Esports play perfectly. And so far, there's no indication that they're going to fall off here. A 5k gold difference definitely isn't ideal. They should want more, but now they're going in for Leo.
They should get more, but also who should get more is Leo. Leo's going back, but the damage is so high on too easy for Lexi. Too easy for Lexi, might die before that Lord, but who dies before that Lord? Or like before that team fight ends is Super from the side of Team Falcons.
Yeah, that ambush from Nightmare Esports definitely caught them off guard. They checked the bush with Leo, which is probably the safest choice they have. But because the team was so far behind, they weren't ready to follow up.
He was charging, he was charging, and he charges Team Falcons, but the penalty zone by Hulk crashes 3 of the members of Team Nightmare, but Team Nightmare comes on top. Team Nightmare now are showing nightmares to Team Falcons. Team Falcons are going down. It is the end. It is the end. It is the end. It is the end. It is the reverse sweep, or there's a defense. It is the reverse sweep for Team Nightmare. Falcons team fall down from the sky.
For the second time today, we are seeing a reverse sweep again. A team that has surpassed all odds and defied all expectations to take down a more experienced and mature opponent. What a performance this has been.
Oof, man, for both these teams, it's such a tough game right there. Back and forth, full action-packed. But in the end, Nightmare Esports come out on top. It was a complicated situation, to be completely honest with you. But in the end, it's undeniable that Nightmare Esports, they have something going on right there. With time, with space allowed for them to actually think up a strategy. They can eventually come up with something really good. But if they want to keep moving forward here in the wildcard series, they gotta be able to do that faster, man. They gotta be able to do that on the fly. Because some of the other teams, they can do it at a drop of hat.
But we're already seeing signs of brilliance here. The fact that they have the potential to do this shows that there's a lot more to this team than we may have initially expected. And the longer the wildcards go, it feels like the more I'm saying that for every single team. So turns out, yeah, that's good news. Turns out maybe there isn't truly an underdog in this competition after all.
Well, in a wild card, you would expect to see wild picks, wild situations, wild teams. So everything is wild so far, and they haven't disappointed anyone who's watching them. Every team has pulled off their best performance, and every team has earned their own points. So far, everything is going really good for the teams generally. Some of them are gaining experience. Some of them are taking that ticket, not back home, but going with it to the Philippines.
That is the main goal, right? That's what all of these teams want, those 2 tickets to the M5 main stage. And now that we're halfway through the matches here in day 2, the group stages are also halfway concluded. And I think the results have definitely defied expectations so far, showing us that none of these players, none of these teams can afford to let down their guard.
Yeah, you can't really count any of these teams out, man, because at worst, they can still surprise you, right? And at best, they will take over and just completely upset. I mean, on our predictions here on the desk today, I believe only one of us voted for Nightmare. So, you know, you can see that even us.
But you cannot remember, right? You cannot remember who voted for Nightmares.
Yeah, I think we don't quite remember it.
Yeah, definitely not.
My point is, even us on the desk has been watching them intensively from day one. We still can't even predict completely what's going to happen in these matches.
That is true. Like, I went into this with a good amount of research. I really crammed as much information about these teams as possible the days leading up into the wildcard. And I thought, like, I have a lot of information now. I should be able to tell what is going to happen. And then these teams just walk up on stage and blow all of those expectations out of the water, which is honestly the best thing you can hope for a tournament like this. Either way though, we're gonna move on and announce our MVP for game number 3. And this time, it is going over to Jasmine. Those Kufra setups were absolutely out of this world.
Especially the one on the bottom lane, man. I think there was a make or break moment, right? The team that wins that engagement, I think, gets a bit more momentum, which Nightmare Esports desperately needed to really come out on top here. The fact that he was able to get an insane engage and a combo off, turning it completely on its head, I think it's very, very well deserved. And these roamers in the wildcard, man, they are absolutely wild.
Actually, I think that he is the MVP. Okay, Kufra is the MVP and Jasmine is the MVP. But I think it was the MVP pick as well. It was the most valuable pick, not just player. Because Kufra, he uses that Franco to his best advantage. How is that? Because everyone surrounds Franco once he uses his ultimate, and this is a really good environment for a pick like Kufra, right, Rashi?
Exactly, which is why I think the composition was so beneficial, right? They have a Kufra, but the guy in front doesn't always have to be the Kufra. The Boxer is very happy to walk in the front, take it, and essentially set up the whole environment for Jasmine to make the play. Let's take a look at some of the MVP highlights right here. And early on, it was just pure chaos. And Nightmare Esports seems to be more comfortable in this environment. But this was the play, man. Ooh. Even with the flicker, dude, you just cannot see it coming. And look at the dive. Knowing that they have a lot of HP bars to work with, right? The black shoes as well. It means that they can juggle the aggro so conveniently. And just like that, they just went and got a dominant fight. And from there on, it's just an uphill battle for Falcon, who are able to get some of the neutral objectives, but at a very expensive cost.
I feel like that engagement in the bottom lane was actually a really big turning point for the side of Nightmare Esports. Even though it was a very early point in the game, you could tell that the psychological damage it was able to inflict was massive, because Falcons thought they finally got a pick off, and then it's just taken away right in front of them.
Yeah, and actually, Brody at some point, he didn't need the torn apart memory to tear Falcons apart. Just basic attacks was enough.
Yeah, and insane performance by Cammy, man. Still the highest KDA ratio, 0 deaths right here, despite all the action available in this final game of this match. Let's take a look at some of the item builds here and the emblems from both these teams. Super, like we mentioned, was going for that pick of strat, but unfortunately, right, no one else really has the damage. Even Lautrec went for the assassin emblem, but he still went with the weapon mastery, so he was really banking on being able to carry in that late game. So in the early stage of the game, despite their intention of being aggressive, they don't really have enough damage to really back up that situation.
Yeah, the thing is, Team Falcons actually has the tools needed to kind of slow down the game and delay until Lautrec becomes a genuine threat, right? But Nightmare Esports recognize this. They know that they cannot afford for Team Falcons to slow this game down. So they just came out the gate completely running, diving them, hunting them down, getting these ganks, even if it meant trading some bodies in the beginning. The moment they got that lead, they knew that Team Falcon would have a lot of difficulty making that comeback in terms of gold and EXP.
And the very confusing part right here, I think, for Falcons as well, can you imagine trying to secure the Lord or Turtle, right? You're trying to focus on everything, and then you see a Joy. So you're like, okay, that's the jungler. But no, man, it's not. That's Juviana in the EXP lane. And in the late game with the weapon mastery, showing again that the Joy is still an absolute menace given the right items and given the right targets.
Yeah, I do want to talk about this a little bit. It's the separation of role, right? Because when Joy has to play as the jungler, the hero is not able to dive those backlines and threaten the squishy heroes. They have to stay around the objective to get that retreat timing. On the opposite side, Leo was fulfilling that role. He not only had to zone out the enemy team, he also had to secure the Lords and the Turtles. And you saw a lot of the time, he was so split. He tried to push them away enough, but that resulted in the objectives getting reset, him losing way too much EXP, and that freedom, I think, made a big difference between these two teams.
Well, between Leo's situation and Too Easy for Lexi, you are completely correct, because Leo was having like two ways. His mind was like thinking two ways. Will I be able to secure that objective, or like will I be able to engage? So yeah, as I told you, draft played a huge part in this game.
It always does, but it seems like even more in Game 3 right here. Looking at the cards here, the literal wild cards, it's going to be Cammy at the 800 gold per minute, the rich guy. So it's going to be the carry here. Even though it seems like he really wasn't diving all in, trying his best to just dive together with his team, he's able to just stay in the outer side of the fight and even use his second skill, the stun, to really set up for his team for some success as well. Hawk on the Terizla, of course, can take a lot of damage, but without the right follow-up, right? We saw that he landed an amazing, 4 or 5 man penalty zone, but no one else can really do anything with that, that situation. I think only Lautrec was the only person he can rely on, and he wasn't safe enough to really walk up with the Terizla.
Yeah, he couldn't combo together the Beatrix ultimates with the penalty zone because he always has to be keeping an eye on where Juviana is. And it's unlikely that Hulk is going to be able to catch out the Joy within his ultimate as well. So Falcons, their mind was just pulled in every which direction and set up such easy engages for the side of Nightmare Esports. I don't think we've given Cammy enough praise because in Game 1, his 1-1 performance was not the best, but this is a player that was considered to have one of the best gold lane positionings in the Mekong region. And we can definitely see why that is the case here. Looking at the damage dealt, definitely leaning a lot towards Nightmare Esports.
Well, Nightmare Esports have done really great this game. It was almost a one-sided game, so I'm not going to say it's similar to the previous game, like Falcons had their moments or anything. The kills were like all around the game and was like mostly a kill by kill. So Nightmare totally deserves that win, and they do deserve this outcome. And that team fight participation shows you how much they were committed to having team fights 5 members together.
And if you look at the roster, the composition coming in from Nightmare Esports, for the most part, every one of them can do a lot more damage technically. Because the Baksha is tanky, but he does, HP-based damage, right? And the same can be said for the Lilia. They can output a lot more spells in a long fight compared to Goodnight on the Valentina. Despite that, Goodnight was still able to match pretty close damage output, but overall, when you're trying to match and go in a slugfest, trying to put your carries up against the enemy frontliners, I think the composition from Nightmare is a lot better catered to do so. So for Falcon, it's just they're trading utility for damage and just didn't pay out this time.
I personally wondered if Falcons just needed to switch up the way that they were taking these fights in the first place, right? The whole reason they have so many engaged heroes is to look for different angles that they could potentially corner Nightmare Esports, and the Franco is picked up specifically to counter the Joy, and yet it felt like Super was always next to Hulk to start out the fight instead of standing with Lotric to defend the most important member of their team. And Juviana just took full advantage of this. Do you think Super should have just positioned further back in preparation of this?
I think that comes back down to the coordination, right? Which is why we were talking a bit about how Team Falcons, it seems like there's a bit of a disconnect. I mean, we saw that big moment where the heavy spin was used together with the penalty zone, and in the end, they're trying to get so many things at once, they get none of it. And Nightmare Esports comes out on top. It's the same idea, man. I think it's possible, and I think it could have changed how the fights really played out if the Franco was playing in a more defensive fashion. But can they coordinate to make that happen? Can they make sure that maybe Hulk or Leo is going to be the main engage tool, and Super can just hang back in the backline with Lotric?
Well, and that proves something, is that it is not only about they do have really good picks, but individually good picks, because Valentina, Beatrix, also Terizla, Franco, and also Akai, they are all of them are really good picks, but they don't work together. They don't bend together, mend together, or melt. I don't know what's the word.
Mix together?
Mix
work well together?
Yeah, work together generally. I wanted to take it a step further than work together. Anyways, so they did have a really good composition, but it was so hard to execute because every time Terizla uses his penalty zone, the heavy spin just makes everything fly around, and no one can actually catch that good team fight. And also Super and his positioning at some points was questionable. So hard luck for Team Falcons, and also GG for Team Nightmare.
I think we do have to note though that time wears down bonds, right? The glue holding Team Falcons together was definitely impacted by their sort of mental state, the fact that they were under a lot of fatigue and their stamina was being tested on a stage such as this, whereas Nightmare Esports actually came onto the stage looking a lot more refreshed. So even factors like that can make a big difference when you are facing off against teams from all over the world. Hopefully, these teams will be able to get the rest that they need and come back with a fresh perspective for day 3. But for now, we're still going to have more matches happening for the rest of today. So without further ado, let's just jump on in. Okay, we got the group standings here after that second match of the day. Team Falcons still sitting quite comfortably at the top of the groups. They would have looked a lot better though in comparison if Nightmare Esports weren't able to get that victory. They now overtake Team SMG to the top 2 of Group A.
And on the side of Group B, Lugans here also in a pretty nice spot after going up against Imperio and coming out on top. So we're seeing really the standings shape up towards the end of the tournament, but you never know, man. I think there's still a lot of ways for potentially some spicy tiebreakers to make its appearance.
That's going to be very interesting. There's still a good number of matches actually left here for these teams to have to compete in. So there's still a lot of opportunity for these rankings to switch around.
Well, the group standings doesn't tell us so much right now because we still have a lot of games left and a lot of opportunities for teams who are now not looking good. But remember, they only played 1 game so far, right? So for Miracle is okay. So they play 1 game so far, right?
Yep.
So they are at the bottom. But if they manage to win the other games that are coming their way, they can just take that ticket.
Yeah, same thing can be said for KBG
And
as well.
KBG,
And I
yeah.
think a lot of people were so hopeful about them because the foundations are solid. We said they needed time. Well, time keeps running in this tournament, and that could be what they need here. Seeing the other teams, gaining more info, and maybe gaining a bit more insight in the possibilities they have in the Land of Dawn, right? How they want to take the Lord, how they want to push their advantage, how they can transition from each stage of the game.
What I like to think is that these teams are constantly refining themselves as they face off against more and more opponents. But let us talk about what is going to be happening in tomorrow's schedule due to the timing of day 2 here. We're going to be moving some matches over, so we're actually going to have a full day of MLBB action for all of you guys tomorrow. So there's going to be 6 best of 3 matches. You guys wanted more? We give you more.
Well, if you are coming tomorrow with some snacks, I recommend to you to double those snacks because it's gonna be a really, really intensive night of Mobile Legends Bang Bang here at the M5 Wildcard.
It has been an incredible day here. We've had 2 intense series, and despite the difficulties that we have encountered, we're very grateful to all of our fans watching at home and those of you here in Geospace as well for taking the time out of your day to enjoy some M5 wildcard action with us. That means it's gonna be the end of day 2 for now. But before we end the stream, Arashi, your final thoughts about what happened today?
What happened today? I think there's just very exciting games, man. Initially, it looks so back and forth, and I think it shows as well that teams are now getting a bit of a hold of each other, man. Finding some holes to take advantage of, but also getting countered in the process. So I think we can expect even more exciting games as the days go by.
Well, with that, we're going to be closing things out for the English desk, and we're going to throw it over to our host, none other than LaFell, to close out the day. See you guys.
Thank you very much to our casters, and usually, thank you very much to the crowd here. Whenever you see my face, it's always with joy and silliness. However, for today, I do have a very serious update to tell all the viewers here in the venue as well as watching at home. Unfortunately, we have encountered quite a few technical difficulties that we have been able to avoid. And after various discussions with multiple parties, we have made the decision to end the live stream today and continue the remaining matches for tomorrow. We would like to apologize to everyone watching. We will spend the night trying to fix any technical difficulties to make sure tomorrow will be smoother. So thank you again for everyone watching, and tomorrow will be better than great. Thank you very much, and good night.
I play my role, I be kinda great. shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You can keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. This feeling I love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind, no time for the weak. We start to the game, shout, reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. This feeling I love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great. If we stand tall and believe we can make it, you and me, with a sense of urgency, you'll see I'm better than great. I'm better than great. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm better than. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Yeah. Hit me like I might geek over, but you can give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You can keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na-na-na. And you know I hold the power. This feeling I love. Oh, yeah. Making my grind good to great. So don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. like I might get over, but you could give me in no corner. I know I can make a comeback, ace this round and finish this game now. Got the power on my shoulders. Yeah, you know that I'm a soldier. You could keep me off my guard, but you can't keep me from my honor.
Nah, 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 I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting higher. You're saving my arms. 'Cause I know just what I got. I got you like na na na, and you know I hold the power. This feeling I love, oh yeah. Making my grind good to great, so don't stand in my way. Standing tall and I won't fall over. We are better than great, good. We are better than great. We stand tall, won't run away. We are fun, nothing gon' change. Great, we are better than great.
Can't get it great, I'm better than great. I play my own role, I become the greatest. Transcend myself into this game, yeah. I build a power to dominate fate. Championship mind on top of the week. We start to the game, shine, reveal. Better than great, that's how we feel.
I feel like the floor is lava. The energy's getting